My name is Deepak Gupta. So, what I want to do is today is only some experimentations I have done during teaching, no specific topical thing, and in experimentations I have used Jugaad. Okay. So, what I want to talk about is that most time when you don't have all the facilities that you require, right, how do you still do it? How do you still do it? By how you put together things and still get to things what you wanted to do. All right. So, it's not subject wise, it's just observing students and seeing technology is growing as it grows. Keep an eye on it. It provides you something and it keeps getting better and better, and before anybody else can integrate, could you integrate it into what you want to do before it becomes a system, before MOOCs is. So, essentially the title was given as MOOCs, but I am not going to do MOOCs, but MOOCs like, because I was trying to do it even before that when MOOCs was becoming popular. All right. So, it is not that efficient, but nonetheless it is better than nothing. So, I am going to talk about Jugaad electronic engineering during electronics and during use of electronics during teaching. All right. So, first thing, just as a matter of history, which you do not need to do anymore. So, I have no presentation, but I am going to open things up. So, just to take you along, back in mid 2000, these tablets became available, right. The tablet computers became available where you could write on the laptop. So, all I did was bought a laptop which turned around, keep it down so that I could write. And instead of using Blackboard, which I used to use to teach, which you I am sure do, right. So, I said, okay, why don't I switch? Students have to take notes, right. Let them not bother about taking notes, or those who don't want to, those who want to can still take notes. Why can't I supply them? Why can't I supply them? So, that's the first thing I started doing, because this technology I saw tablet is becoming available. So, what do I do with it? So, I said, okay, I have transparencies were long gone. Anyway, conferences, when we were going, we were making presentations, we were making PowerPoint presentations from a laptop. Now, I have a laptop on which I can write. So, why can't I just simply project it, and whatever I wrote, I can save it and simply supply it to people, to the students. That was the first thing back in mid 2000. And the outcome of that, one slide I will show you, is just this. I was using a page called Windows Journal. If you use Windows software and if it comes with tablet, then for sure, otherwise also it's a free part which you can download from Microsoft site. It's bundled into Microsoft. It's called Microsoft Journal. Okay, it's called Microsoft Journal, and it creates a .jnt file. And if you don't have it, the plugins are available, you can freely download it. All right, Microsoft supplies it free. It has all sorts of pens. In this screen it does not show because I have not opened it. On this laptop it was not there, that is why I am saying I lost things, so I had to salvage. But it has pen which you are writing with different colors, rubber, eraser, bold, etc., you could do. And all I was doing is just teaching thermodynamics, lecture in, this is in 2009 lecture which I picked up. All I did was I was writing some things, and I have no intention to go over this. All I was trying to show you is that when I was teaching, you could highlight, you could underline, emphasize, whatever you want to do, and simply save it and give it to the students. Just after the lecture would circulate it, right. So, that was a big benefit to the students. It became just suddenly technology became available and you married it, and it was not for somebody to you just keep your eye open. Many things, but you don't need any infrastructure for it. All you require is a laptop. That much anybody can afford. Any college can afford. Rich or poor college, doesn't matter, right. So, these are just back in mid 2000 when I started doing this kind of thing. Then after some time, this little bit better facilities in IIT became available, and let me show you one first. Let's see, not this, yeah, not this one. I don't want to show you this one first. So, yeah, this one I will show you. Then sometime when this facility became available, there is a mic, no mic here right now. So, this just like they are recording it right now. Something like this tool became available, and so I just had someone completely record it. This could be brought, this screen is not working, on a side, make it small and size, and here it is, same Windows Journal, I was using it. It was now recording voice also. Not only on this tablet which I had, no sorry, this time I am not using tablet. Well, no, yeah, I am using tablets, I had tablet which I had, and in this tablet I am recording just like a video camera there, somebody stood and recorded it, and what they would do is create two windows. So this way you could see the person also. You could see the person also, the gesture of a, like I'm moving my hands, and you might consider that important, and that's got recorded, and I was essentially writing it on that, right. We can move forward. This is some previous, and the sound also, there's no, and now you see it's a full-fledged lecture. All right, so this is the second experiment I did. This time I'm not doing it like a MOOCs. Whatever I am teaching, I would start recording this like this. I had a person employed for this purpose, and every lecture I would circulate it. What was the consequence? The consequence was, I don't know what your attendance policies are. In IIT Kanpur, attendance policy is student's choice. So my attendance dropped down to even 1. Yes, it was a 20-25 people class, small class, doesn't matter. Attendance dropped down to 1. I didn't bother. I didn't implement any attendance policy. Just that after every lecture, I would supply this. So students figured this out, that it takes them 1 hour to watch a lecture, but they can play the video in 1.5x. They can play the video back in 1.5x and actually save some time. Yeah, so so that's what they do. That's what they told me, that they do it in 1.5x, and they started watching lecture. I thought the performance in the class was very good that year. All right, maybe slightly good. I should not say very good, but what happened is nobody is coming. But still, for the exams they were studying. Except what happened to some students was that when you are building up your lectures, when you are you're teaching, student attends, takes his notes, etc. Whatever, every lecture they are taking notes, etc. When the exam time comes, how much time you have? Any final exam would have 40 lectures. That's what our system is. I presume something similar would be in your college also. How are you going to watch 40 lectures? You do need these notes. All right. So for some students, disaster did happen, that they had not taken notes and they could not watch 40 lectures in the end. Even if you do 1.5x, still you need 30 hours. So you still need 30 hours, and you haven't got that much time to prepare in the end, right? So they didn't. Those who didn't take notes, also simultaneously when they were watching video, they suffered, because notes you read very fast. I mean, for one lecture you don't spend. You have already learned it. You just browse it, and you can do it in 10-15 minutes, 20 minutes. Revise the same thing. So this problem happened. But they did okay. All right. So next time what I did was something similar. For next time, when I did was that I did the same thing, and I'm going to go that one now. Was same concept. This time the picture is, I didn't move the picture around. They themselves took care of it. Those who supplied it. So this is another class I was teaching, and in this class again, I was teaching, and they kept moving pictures so that you could record the gesture also, etc. And this time I warned the students up front that this is what happened in the previous class, that if you don't come to the class, that's okay. I'm giving you the lectures. I gave it. That's as a policy of my personal policy, that people should be self-motivated to come to the class. If they don't want to, so be it. They're adult. If they can vote, then they should be able to decide about their life also. As simple as that. So that's my philosophy, though everybody doesn't agree with the same thing. So that's what I started doing. So, but I warned them that this time, what you should do is, I'm still teaching my classes. So you make sure that you take this recorded lecture, but make notes. Make notes, because you will get stuck in the final. They appreciated that, they understood the idea here, and which presumably they did. All right. So this was my third attempt to using electronics. But still, remember, before I go to the jugaad part, here I am still using resources. I am still required someone, a cameraman, I need a classroom which has a camera. There is a person engaged who is now with you. You may have this facility. How many of you have such facilities? No one is having this facility. So what MOOCs will you do then, right? So all right. So first thing I did was, I had this facility. So just like it's going on here. So we use that, right? Next time I turn it into MOOCs, not exact MOOCs which I've been told to you about. I didn't have option. I used just this. So for that, I'll stop this first, and then I'll come. And I'm going to give you a jugaad also. So what I did was, next time I supplied these lectures to the class. Next time I was teaching the same course, I did not teach. I did not give lectures at all. I used the same which I recorded a year ago. All right. Now I am teaching the same class. My content is not going to change. All right. Depending on some question answers, it may be slightly different, but other than that, broadly it is not going to change. Content is going to remain the same. So what I did was, upfront on day 1, I supplied all the 40 lectures upfront, and I said I'll take no lectures whatsoever, right? And this was again a small class, not a large class. So I tried it in a small class, and that's the data I wanted to bring, or the response from that, which I have lost right now. So what from my memory I'll share with you what happened. I just simply supplied all these 40 lectures ahead of time, and so every lecture, 3 turns. It was 3 classes a week. So I didn't take any permission from anybody else, because what I was going to do is hold all my 3 hours of class, except that I will not do the lectures. So what I would do is that I would take every week half an hour quiz. Half an hour quiz was every week. All right. Why it was important? Because now it was implicit that I had to force the students to watch 3 lectures a week. If you supply all the lectures to them, they may not, okay, attendance is not compulsory, okay, you don't have to, but still you have to pace it out, otherwise, it can be a disaster. Now I am not giving lectures in a classroom, so I supplied all of them, ahead of time itself, all 40 lectures, but I imposed a half an hour quiz in every week out of the 3 lectures. 2.5 hours of something else which I am about to talk about, and half an hour of quiz. All right. Now, that half an hour quiz I will talk about a little bit again, but 2.5 hours first. Let me now shift to the 2.5 hours. So what I would do is, I said, now it's up to you. You come to the class and we discuss. Now the lectures are gone. We are going to one level further. What you would consider as a tutorial, now 2.5 hours effectively became a tutorial. I prepared the discussion points. I did problem solving. I created problems out of my lectures, and I would circulate some problems to them, and we will solve those problems. First, we will say whatever whatever you want to discuss, not doubts. Doubt is a very strange word. It's like I didn't understand, but student may want to discuss. May have understood to the point you were doing, but may start thinking, get curious, and may ask questions left and right of it. Right now, it's now 2.5 hours opened up. So student had to spend now 3 hours watching, right? Watching this, and now is coming to the class only for discussion, if they want to come to discussion. And we were doing problem solving. Okay, I realized it was a mess for both of us. Why? First, you do not know what your 3 lectures were exactly. You recorded a year ago. Notes is easy to see how long it takes to, if you already have your own notes prepared, how long it takes once you prepared it. You go to a 1 hour class, all it takes is 10-15 minutes or maybe 1 hour, just to look at it and think about it, etc. Now here you had to watch your own damn lecture for 1 hour. Even if you use I had learned the trick of 1.5x from the students, which I used, but now every week 3 hours in my preparation time, I have to watch those lectures, and try watching your own lecture unless you have narcissistic feelings, which I don't. It was so damn sleepy. In fact, I started using it as sleeping pills. I'm a very light sleeper, so I actually literally, I'm not kidding, sometimes, not often, but sometimes I have watched my own lectures to fall asleep. That works wonders. It works wonders, but nonetheless, so watching this 3 hours of lecture to prepare for that week, and falling asleep, trying to stay awake. All right. After that, when you realize that what you have taught, so that you are thinking, what is the discussion point? You don't know. You're not be sitting duck. You're going to the class. Some student may ask any random question. Unless he may say that you were saying such and such thing. You solved this problem. Why was this? But if you don't recall where you did that, how would you answer it? Right. So you had to watch your own video. There's no other alternative. Then after that, you start preparing problems. You start creating discussion points, the points you wanted to emphasize, the things you wanted to get into the skin of that problem. Those are the things you started preparing. You prepare that, right? So now you imagine your preparation time, 3 hours plus this. This took a huge amount of time, and preparing problems for that, right? Then after that, half an hour of quiz you have to prepare. If you're going to demand student to write a half an hour quiz, so you also have to prepare. You have to prepare a solution for it. After it is done, then you have to grade it also. Right? Now let's get to the quiz part. So this half an hour quiz, which we would have, in fact, in the next week we would discuss that quiz also. Whatever that quiz was, so part of the discussion was that quiz also. So when we would discuss this quiz, so we since it's a small class, this worked well in small class. So what I did was, then after that, after the quiz was done, we would distribute these quizzes to each other, students amongst each other. Finally, I would grade. All right. Finally, I would grade. What I said I did not do, but my intention was that I could not actually do that. So we just distribute in the same 28 people are in the class, and we would distribute this everybody's answers paper. We would go through. I would go through the quiz, and I'll solve that quiz. All right. Do the quiz part also in the part of the 2.5 hours. That same quiz I would do, and ask the students to grade in pencil. All right, each other. Even allowed that if you know he's grading his paper, then I allowed, if he didn't understand what he was trying to say, to call him or talk to him and understand what he is trying to say. All right. If the student understood the point, then allowed that. Okay, to discuss also that what was not change it, but still allow to if something was not being understood, then allowed that. The important part is the person who's grading, that person's level of understanding is going up also. However, many people started bunking because of that reason, because they had not prepared. So okay, they have messed up their quiz, but how do they grade somebody else's quiz? It happened. All these things arise as you make bright ideas. So all I'm trying to say is experiment in your class. That's my thrust of all another 15 minutes. My thrust of class is experiment. Experiment with whatever you got, and you will see that bright ideas you have, they start falling apart somewhere, and next place you have to change it again. Next time you have to change it again, and things like that. That way we also don't get bored. Otherwise, teaching the same damn thing again and again 20 years, how long? The content is not going to change. Some new contents get added, but some courses are basic courses. They can't change over time. It gets very, very boring. All right. So this way you experiment and you learn. So coming back to this thing, so then students would grade. They would write their marks, and then finally I would grade. And I would grade, and I said, if I gave the same marks, then the person who graded gets a bonus. All right. If ours are matching with plus minus 1 or 2, something like I said. So then I would get bonus marks also. This part didn't work very well. But things like experiments you could try. The labor became huge. Not only for instructor, it became a huge labor. All right. Along with the research burden which we have, this became a humongous thing to do. It took huge amount of my time. But think from students' point of view, they were not happy also about this time part also, because not only they had to, if somebody was a sincere student, that person had to watch 3 hours, come to the class for 3 hours, and prepare for the quiz every week. That's a huge load on a student also. All right. So, but since it was a small class, it was an elective class, and it was only those people who chose to take this class, right. So at the end, the review which I wanted to read out for you, which I have lost, is where they said that it will work for elective, may not work for a basic class. So you have to be aware of this. That's the point I wanted to make, that maybe same tricks are not going to work for every size of class. You'll have to watch out. All right. There's a small fraction which did not like that it was a video recorded. They wanted a lecture be done on the blackboard itself. That's okay, but you will get some splits like that. But this was the experiment I wanted to share with you. Now in next few minutes, so this is when your resources are available, when this video recording facility is available. So now what I'm about to do is, I say, even if it is not available, we'll get there with very small thing, and that's what I'm going to show you now. Okay. So I presume it's not a problem for any of you to get a tablet PC, is that right? Yes? Yes or no? Yes. It's not a problem for you to buy a software. Your institution will allow buy a software, right? So I'm going to use a software called Camtasia, which we use. This is anybody familiar with it? Camtasia software? Anybody? No? Okay. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to turn this on. Unfortunately, audio will not come, but this is the Camtasia software. This is the name if you wish to write. I am not advertising for it. This is what I use, and I use because people in my department have found this to be useful. Perhaps there are some other ones also. Given I am only trying to show it's how you can now without no recording now. I am not going to use anybody. I am going to do it everything myself. Okay. So now I will just turn this on, and I will do this right in front of you. So here is the software which opens up, and I am not going to go through this whole thing software. All I am going to do is record. I am going to do a record. Okay. So what you can do is, if you are making a PowerPoint presentation, if you are making PowerPoint presentation, that somebody is saying something. If you are making a PowerPoint presentation, let us say, so you can record your PowerPoint presentation and add video audio through it. So audio would be, it's recording the audio also, and the laptop does. But if you can plug in a mic also, which is common thing, which you all know, so then it will record that voice also, right? So you can turn on your PowerPoint. It's going to record your PowerPoint, and you can distribute it to the students. But if you are using a tab, if you don't have a tablet and you use PowerPoint, then you don't even need anything. But if you use a tablet, then you can use a pen also on top of PowerPoint, or just like a like a window journal, or writing on the PowerPoint itself. Either way. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do a record of what we are doing right now. We will just do a record of that. So you can record. I want to record the full screen. All right. And now I'm going to say record, and my recording will start. And F10 is when I'll stop it, right? The recording has started. Whatever I'm talking, now it is getting recorded. I'm going to play back this screen. Whatever you're seeing here is, I'm going to play back. So let's say I have a PowerPoint. Otherwise, you could just start writing. What you lose is gestures. Now it's not recording me. It's recording only the screen. So you'll have to be a little bit careful. You can't come out here and start making gestures. Those gestures are not getting recorded. Okay. So you have to be a little bit careful that instead of gesture based, you have to focus on this itself. In this case, there is a excuse me, PowerPoint lying there. Doesn't matter what this is, right? So it's recording something, and it doesn't matter what it is, some curves, etc. And we're discussing. If you have a pen or a tablet, then you are writing. So whatever you're writing is also getting, just like you saw those pages are getting recorded, etc. Once you are all done with it, then all you have to do is press F10, and this stops. Okay. There is a video file created in its own format. What I'm going to do is, first thing is, and I'm going to play back. So I'm going to save that video file. I'll save it on desktop, right? So my video file in the native format is, and now I'm going to share it. Here's the share key. So I'm going to share this, and I'm going to share this. Share means I'm going to convert it into MP4. I'm just compare and just distribute. That's all I want to do, nothing else. What did I share? What happened? No, it was supposed to produce selection as. It should have been. Why this is not coming is what I'm worried about. New custom production, we're going to try this. Okay. So I'm going to just put it in this MP4. Now where is where this is next is right here, but I have to make this window smaller somehow. This is what happens every time you do something, it starts misbehaving. I have to go to this next, which you see somewhere here is next written here, and is somewhere here. I am. How do I get there? Huh? It is not. How do I make it smaller or something? It's not giving me the window to make it smaller. Huh? नहीं जा रहा ना. Anyway, but my point is that. Huh? Let me see tab. Use these tabs. Now it is there. Next, and I want next again. I want to just do next again. Okay, it's rendering the project. Okay. Let me see if it is right here. It should have rendered it here. You should have created one. And do you see anything untitled also? One more thing, folder, yeah, this one, and here it is. This is what we were doing. When I was talking to you, this is what we were recording, right? So if you are writing, everything, your sound and everything is getting recorded. You don't need anyone. You don't need anyone, and all you have to be careful that you cannot be seen. You cannot be seen, so be careful that don't start, waving hands. This goes from here, then this goes from that side, then this goes inside this. Draw it. Then draw it, okay? Because that will be lost. That part will be lost. Other than that, you can see all those things I was telling you about. You can do experiments, and this is something simple. All of you can have it, and it will. Huh?
We can do same thing through VLC
recording and all. Yeah. So whatever. Okay. So I'm not familiar with it. I don't get into it. People have installed it for me, so I just use that. So okay. So what else it can do, I do not know. And what other, that's I said. But I'm saying I want to instigate is that there is a scope for, I said I'm going to give you a jugaad solution. MOOCs become a big name. With it comes lot of infrastructure, etc. I'm talking one-to-one in class. When you go to class, you can do better than just simply doing it on the board. And this is a record which student has. Even if you don't want to do a flipped classroom kind of thing, you like an experiment, you can simply, whatever you're teaching, you can provide that record of that to the students, freely distributed to them, right? And these lectures I have loaded. Now many other people have started downloading it also. Many other places also they started downloading. So this thing spreads. So this is all I wanted to share with you. Don't have any, so try experiments. There's huge amount of scope of experiments. I'm just sharing my experiences which I've been trying here. But this thing really helps, that students having in my class I find people who are very good, all right, they don't need anything else. There are people who are who are doing badly, or they still suffer, they are not able to understand. There is a class in the middle which is not able to keep up with the pace in the classroom. They are understanding, they lose pace, they are not able to, and then most of them, including me as a student, I am talking about when I was a student, didn't have the discipline to go back and learn that same thing. Arey, baad mein karenge na. And before you know it, when you come to the next class, I haven't got a clue what is being taught in that class, because it required what was that you had understood what was in the previous class, and that was lost. Then that was lost, and slowly I had started skipping the class also. I did. Okay, I honestly say so, and this was the reason. All right. Simply, when this recording became available, when I went to my graduate studies, such recordings were available. I realized, in fact, I went for a job, and when I was on job, such recordings were available to me, because I was on my job. I was taking additional courses in a university after my postdoc. After I had done my PhD, after I had done my postdoc, I was on job, regular job, and my job required some training, and I would go and register for some courses in university which I had not done on credit. And there I could not go for the classes. I told the instructor, he said video is available, take it. I would take this video. This was so useful for such students, because what they would do is, what I would do is, and that's what other students do also, this class in the middle, which is the largest, which is able to do things, but the pace they are not able to keep up with. So what they would do, what I would do is, and what they do is, they would stop. They would stop the video, try to rewind it, try to understand what was said. And I used to watch 1 hour video in 1.5 hours, not 1.5x, slowed it down. And I would take notes. I have booked also with me. My book, if I didn't understand what the instructor was saying, I had my book also, and I paused to think about it. In my notes, it was much better notes, because I would write it in a way where I understood it the way I wanted to understand it. I had enough time on it and play it, and it took me 1.5 hours to watch the whole video, right? Those lectures I still haven't forgotten. Right? So that's the power of giving this to the students. So especially the group in the middle, on the top doesn't need it, on the bottom probably is not going to be helped, maybe help little bit, No, I am not just saying, I am not saying disparagingly, I am not saying that for any student, I am not saying it disparagingly, but there is a large group in the middle which can benefit. Their level can go higher, all right, but of course, there has to be willingness. So, that is where I will end, that is all I had.